Have you actually noticed that the people most obsessed with self-improvement are the most unbearable creatures on the planet? Let's break this circus down. How does this scam work? Back in the day, to be a decent person, you just had to be, well, a decent person. Help out a neighbor, don't litter, ask your friend how they're doing, and don't be a total jerk. That was it. Simple rules. So, what does the modern religion of self-improvement do? It takes your attention, which used to be aimed outward, at the world, at friends, family, work, your cat, the stars, and forcibly turns it right back at your own navel. Now your life isn't about actually living events. It's a non-stop personal audit. Did I grow enough today? Is this call from my mom violating my personal boundaries? Does this person match my level of inner evolution? Do you see what's happening? You become the CEO, the manager, and the only client of a company called me, myself, and I. So you're sitting in a restaurant with one of these healed individuals. You're talking about having a rough week, and they look down their nose at you with this fake, forced calmness and say, "I hear your pain, but I don't have the bandwidth to hold space for your anxiety right now because it's draining my battery." Holy crap! What is wrong with you? I just said someone stepped on my foot on the subway. What battery? Your battery is your ability to stay human, and you just turned yourself into an emotional calculator. We traded basic human empathy for a shield made of pseudo-psychology terms. You don't have to compromise anymore. You don't have to tolerate other people's flaws. You don't even have to just be there when someone is hurting. Why bother? You've got the ultimate excuse. I'm prioritizing myself. You know what people called that 50 years ago? Egoism. Plain, cheap, trashy egoism. But wrap it up in a shiny package labeled mental health awareness and emotional hygiene. And suddenly you're not just a narcissist, you're self-aware. And here's the real tragedy, the one no high-priced happiness coach will ever tell you. Self-obsession works like a black hole. The more you demand the world meet your high standards of personal growth, the fewer people are left around who can actually tolerate those standards. You cut off unhealed friends, you dump shallow partners, you lock yourself in a sterile aquarium of your own superego. And then one day, you find yourself at the very top of this perfectly optimized, processed, meditative pyramid. You woke up at 5 a.m., drank your green juice, stretched out, audited your feelings. You're flawless. You reached the peak. Except around you, there's nothing but dead, freezing silence. There is nobody left in that room except you and your mirror. You cut out all the risk, all the spontaneity, and all the messiness of connecting with real, flawed human beings. You won the game of making yourself better, but you completely forgot who you were doing it for in the first place. Have you ever tried just telling someone, "You know what? I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything, and I'm going to spend the next 2 days staring at the ceiling"? Try it. You know what you'll see? Panic. Terror in their eyes, like you just confessed to worshiping the devil or planning to rob a retiree. They'll immediately start shoving vitamins down your throat, recommending full-body checkups, sleep trackers, yoga courses, or at least proper rest. Because in our insane world, you no longer have the right to just be exhausted. Your fatigue is no longer considered a natural state of a living organism, but a system defect, a glitch in the matrix, a personal failure. Society turned exhaustion into a crime, and recovery into just another job. Look at what they did to the concept of rest. They stole it from us and wrapped it up in the term resource regeneration. You can't just lay on the couch with a slice of pizza anymore. No, that's inefficient. If you're laying down, you better be laying down in a way that optimizes your REM sleep. You have to drink electrolytes, read nonfiction, and breathe out of your left nostril so your cortisol drops 3% by 8 p.m. We've been brainwashed into thinking the human body isn't a living organism, but a damn power bank. And if the red light starts blinking, you don't get to stop and cry. You have to urgently plug yourself into a self-care cable, charge up to 100%, and jump right back into the wheel like a fattened, stress-resistant hamster. We created a culture where it's shameful to admit you're at your limit. If you work 3 jobs and can't lift your arm, they tell you, oh, you just have a poverty mindset, or you just don't know how to time manage your sleep. Seriously, a person works 14 hours a day for peanuts, and you tell them the problem is their incorrect breathing. What a brilliant scam. Why change inhumane working conditions? Why break an exploitative system when you can just blame the biological organism itself for wearing out? They sell us thousands of ways to cure fatigue, but nobody offers to remove its cause. And the scariest part of this game is the guilt that eats you alive from the inside when you finally turn off your phone. You sit in the dark, your body humming with overwork, and a little timer set by life coaches ticks in your head. You're wasting time. While you're laying here, someone else is running a marathon. While you sleep, someone else is optimizing their business. We turned our own nervous systems into battlefields where any sign of weakness is punished with self-destruction. We're so afraid of appearing unable to keep up the pace that we invented thousands of euphemisms for plain old powerlessness. But the truth is, a machine can run without stopping until the metal melts. You can't! And when you forbid yourself from being tired, you actually forbid yourself from being human. We repair our detailed biomechanism so obsessively, we erase any trace of exhaustion so stubbornly that in the end we get a perfectly functional, flawlessly optimized body, inside of which there is no longer anyone left who can simply feel the joy of being alive. Have you ever noticed that we've completely lost the ability to just goof off? That's it. Game over. The concept of pure downtime has been officially wiped out. Now even your leisure time has to be useful for your career. You can't just read a thriller or watch a dumb comedy with a beer anymore. No, man, that's unproductive. If you read, it has to be the 115th book on biohacking, time management, or how rich people poop gold before 6 in the morning. If you go for a run in the park, it's not for fun, but to build stamina for another presentation and flush out excess cortisol. We turned our own free time into just another shift at work. And the funniest thing is how we backed ourselves into this corner. They tell you a hobby helps unload your brain. And a week later, you're buying the top-tier gear, launching a dedicated blog about your bicycle, measuring your heart rate, counting calories, and competing with random strangers on the internet. Congratulations! You just monetized or digitized the one thing that was supposed to save you from going insane. We lost the luxury of doing something just because, doing it poorly, doing it wrong, and just for the fun of it. Now everything has to be optimized, measured, and attached to your virtual resume. They sold us the idea that if you aren't developing every single second of your life, you're regressing. Even sleeping has to be done right, so that tomorrow you can be an effective little cog in the machine. But you know what the main trick is? When you turn your entire life, including your rest, into a continuous manufacturing process, you lose the very reason you work in the first place. You become a master technician who excels at servicing himself, but has completely forgotten what it's like to be a human being who just enjoys living. Look at these self-aware and enlightened guys and girls. Have you noticed they all talk exactly the same? It's unbelievable. They search so desperately for their uniqueness and their true self that they end up turning into clones, stamped out on the exact same Chinese factory floor of Instagram wisdom. Even their facial expressions are identical. That forced, half-asleep face, that quiet, measured voice, like they just ate a pound of valerian root and washed it down with holy water. They're all letting go of the situation, processing emotions, getting back into their body, and building boundaries. They use the exact same 15 words from a psychology dictionary because actual thoughts just don't fit inside their heads. This is a whole new level of conformity. It used to be that to be like everyone else, you had to wear matching suits and go to a factory. Now, to be unlike everyone else, you have to buy the same yoga mat, drink the same matcha latte on almond milk, and repeat quotes from seminars written for you by a 22-year-old marketer. They think they broke out of the system, but they just swapped one crowd for another. Except now their crowd has a dress code and specific jargon. They're terrified of taking a step left or right without approval from their guru, yet they genuinely consider themselves free thinkers. And the scariest part is the complete loss of a real, genuine human face. Behind these rehearsed phrases about acceptance and loving the universe, there's nothing but emptiness and the fear of looking like a regular, flawed human being. They polish their spiritual uniqueness so hard that they wipe out the last remaining bits of their actual personality. In trying to become the best version of themselves according to an Instagram template, they simply erased who they really were, along with all their quirks, messy mistakes, and real, unscripted vitality. Oh, and here's my favorite circus, the fairy tale about 22-year-old millionaires who made it on their own. Look at these magazine covers. He launched a startup in his garage and bought a crypto island while you were sleeping. My God, what a touching story. They shove this garbage down our throats day and night, making every grown man or woman feel like a total loser because you're 30 and you still don't own a crypto fund or a crystal pagoda in Bali. But they always forget to mention a few small details, tiny little nuances, you know? It always accidentally slips out of the frame that the garage for the startup was located on his senator father's estate, or that his first investment was a non-repayable loan from his banker uncle for $500,000 on a pinky promise, or that the guy was just insanely, miraculously lucky to be in the right place at the right time, and some corporation randomly bought his stupid app for cat filters. Nobody writes bestsellers about that. Why would they? It's way more profitable to sell you a course on how to become a millionaire at 20, making you believe you're poor simply because you sleep too much or don't believe in your success story hard enough. This is textbook survivor bias, elevated to the status of a new global religion. They take one case out of 10 million, wrap it in shiny foil, and say, "See? He did it, so you can too." No, man, you can't, because the world doesn't play by fair rules. And while you punish yourself for taking a weekend off, thinking that somewhere another young genius is optimizing his capital, know this: most of them simply won the genetic or situational lottery. And selling luck under the guise of hard work on yourself is the dirtiest and most lucrative business built on your insecurity.